I'm very glad that Fargo City Commissioner John Strand has allowed us to talk to him here on the Drive Time News. And John, welcome. Good to have you again, sir.
You know, Jack, it's just always a pleasure to connect with you and your audience, especially you on KFGO.
I was startled. I was shocked. I was dismayed when I read the article in the paper this morning about one city commissioner's disregard, in my opinion, for the homeless in the town. And I was so pleased to see that the three other commissioners and Mayor Mahoney were asking questions like, what are you going to do, arrest people? And, well, anyway, John Strand, I appreciated your response to that as well. Can you tell us what the homeless situation is and what your reaction to the particular discussion we heard last night?
Well, Jack, it's not just us. It's everywhere on the planet. You know, there's almost 8 billion people on the planet now. There were 2.5 billion when I was born. They got it. People are everywhere. People are going to fill in every square inch of the face of the earth, and then there's a lot of folks who really just struggle, and or fall through the cracks or don't fit in, and so there's just thousands of people that don't have a roof over their head. They don't have a home. Well, you know, and their world is very different than ours.
We see that every day, and it can be an inconvenience, and it can be uncomfortable for us, but what do you perceive that we should do?
My view is we do everything we can. We expand what we're doing, like our downtown engagement center right now is just a great model that others are emulating also, where we provide services, we provide care, we provide, support for people. So there's over 100 people a day. That's the old police station, Jack. They call it the deck. There's over 100 people getting serviced there a day by a whole list of service-type providers, medical care, job career development people who they can go in and they can take a shower and launder their clothes and so on, and just have a place to connect and get some guidance. That's 100 and some people a day. You know, we have 330 or so available beds in Fargo for our unhoused population, and yet there's a need right now for over 340 per day. So we have dozens of people that are along the rivers, out in the parks, hanging around City Hall and the library and the Civic Center. And my view is we expand what we're doing, and we do everything we can and pull out all stops and help people get help and help them get housing and help them get stable in their lives. And that's what I wish somebody would do for me when I'm in trouble. We need to do it for others.
John, let me ask this question. Do you think the churches in our community could step up to a greater degree than we've seen them on occasion do so, provide housing in severe winters and such, but they're not a taxable entity, and they do represent, exactly what you're talking about here. Can we ask, and how do you think they would react to step up?
My guess is they say we do everything we can, and of course we would help. A few years ago, the churches were the place and the support system for a lot of our homeless people and for providing space. But they got burnt out too, and they don't have the support and the finances. And then they're not always necessarily a system of people trained to help the special needs of those that you're supporting. There's a lot of folks out there, homeless veterans and mentally ill people and people with substance abuse challenges and people that are just in abject poverty and people who have all this whole list of things that just make life difficult.
Well,
so the churches do step up, and I think they are probably a really big partner already, Jack. And what we do need from them is a lot of prayers, a lot of support for people doing the good work, people saying thanks to those in the trenches that are dedicating their lives to helping others. This is a test of us, how we handle and work with and treat our least fortunate people. This is a measure of us.
When I'm downtown or elsewhere, I see troubled people who evidently have mental issues, walking down the street, being loud, unruly, and the only way they'll get help is if they hurt themselves or someone else, or create some kind of, break a window or something like that, even though everybody looking at them understands. But we can't do we are unable to do much because we would rather build huge high-rises and extra prison cells or jail cells than actually provide physical help and the people who can help. And that's not just the city of Fargo, but it goes beyond that.
Bingo, Jack. Right now, for example, we're doubling the size of the Cass County Jail, essentially. We don't have any problem discussing building jails.
No.
That jail's going to have over 500 people, I think, when it's done. That's a big city in North Dakota. But we argue about providing a temporary space or an interim space or a physical space in a building we already have that's sitting there empty already, the police station downtown. We quibble about whether we can afford to help people. We can't afford not to.
John, this is just something that has been brought to my attention with very recent news about this proposed Fargo Dome expansion and convention center and such, and we think of the use of the Civic Center, a landmark in downtown. Couldn't that somehow be retooled to provide that kind of assistance? And then we'd have to hire people, because we're not just going to lock up the troubled and the homeless. We have to have people who can care for them. I wonder if that is an alternative.
I like where your mind just went, and I'm guessing you're not alone. And think of the individual. One of the individuals folks are talking about is a woman and some others who've put some cardboard barricades at the entrance of the west side of the Civic Center to give themselves some shelter. And in my mind, Jack, that's somebody that knows on the other side of that wall is this big empty building, and I'm out here in the elements. I'm outside. I'm not inside.
Well,
I don't have protection. I don't have sanctuary. I just love where your mind went with that, because that would just imagine if we pulled out our magic wand and we took a facility like the Civic Center. But I'll be frank. There's people who don't want any of these people. Those people.
Yeah.
They don't want any of them downtown.
Well, I wonder if the opposing commissioner wouldn't just put them on a plane and ship them to Florida or New York. John, I love you,
We've already been told they can go get a job. They should be somewhere else.
I sure appreciate you. Thank you for being on the commission, and thanks for joining us again here on KFGO.
Jack, it's just a pleasure to have this conversation and to have this dialogue. And I look forward to listening to the best thinking of the people.
See you later, man.